guys, hi, welcome to my channel. Welcome to DIY Art Blast. So I'm here with another painting. This is gonna be a little easier than the last time. Alright, so if you also want to paint with me, go grab your canvas. You can also paint on a watercolor paper with the watercolor if you like, but I'm gonna use 8 by 10 size of canvas here, and I'm just using my acrylic paint today. So these are all the colors I usually basically use all the time, but let me just tell you these are the color I'm using. It's a white, this is kind of magenta red, make sure it's not on orange side, make sure it's more on a pink side. This is black, blue, green, yellow, and this is brown. Alright, so these are the only colors I'm going to use for this painting. And these are the 3 brushes I'm going to use for this year. This is a big round brush. This is number 8 size. This is number 4 size. You can also use a flat brush, flat small brush if you have. And I'm also going to use this brush here. And I don't have any number for this brush, but I'm sure this is number 0 size. Alright, so let's start painting. So if you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe to my channel, and if you like this video, give a big thumbs up. Alright, so let's start painting. So I'm gonna start with the background first. So here's my plan. Let me grab my pencil here. Alright, so here's what I'm gonna do. The top half of my canvas is gonna be the sky, some trees there, and everything on the bottom is all gonna be kind of water area, and I'm gonna add a little tent there. Alright, so I'm gonna use my pencil here first to just basically draw outline of that little tent that I'm gonna paint. And this tent is very simple, so let me see where I'm gonna add my tent first. So this is my center, this is where I'm gonna add my tent. Okay, so I'm just gonna draw a little outline here for, you can see a triangle here. Okay. So you know how the tent look like. There are so many different type of tent that you can add. Okay, so here's my tent. So again, I might change a little bit. I might change a shape a little bit. This is just the outline of what my plan is to kind of draw here. Alright, so this is my tent. Everything else around is all water here, a little ground area, I'll tell you later. But let me start painting. Alright, so now here's my plan. I'm gonna add a nice colorful sky, and everything on mostly everything is gonna be the same also on the water here too, because it's all the reflection on the water. Alright, so I'm gonna use my round brush. Okay, so I'm gonna start with the kind of light blue color here. So let me grab a little bit of white, and I'm also gonna just take tiny little blue. Okay, and I'm just gonna take also a little bit of yellow, not too much. Okay, might look a slightly teal here. Okay, I think this is the perfect color I want to go for. Just gonna make it slightly little darker, so I just add more blue. Okay, perfect. So this is the color I'm gonna use. Now I'm just gonna start working on some of the area here first. So I want to make the middle area a little bit more brighter, so I'm mostly gonna apply this color here, and I'm gonna go in circular motion like this. Okay, just gonna randomly apply this color here now. just picking the area wherever I want to make it lighter. Okay, whatever I do on the top, I'm gonna do the same thing on the bottom too. Now it's gonna be slightly a little bit different. That's okay, because it's just a reflection, right? So it doesn't have to be too perfect. Okay, I need to make some more paint here. Remember, it doesn't have to be same. Alright, I think I like this. I'm just gonna apply a little darker shade here now. So I'm gonna make the similar color again. Now I know it's hard to make the same color every time we kind of, you know, try to create a similar color, but you don't have to make a same color here. I'm just gonna try to just add a little bit more blue to the similar color here. I'm just gonna add more blue. Just make a little dot and see. I think that's dark enough. So I'm just gonna go around this color that I just add. Again, I'm just gonna keep that circular motion here. I'm not touching that color right now. I'm just applying this darker blue. Okay, that's all I'm gonna do. Now I barely have like any paint on my brush, so I'm just gonna go over between those two colors that I just had, and I'm gonna blend that all together. Now again, I barely have, like, I don't have any paint on my brush. Make sure it's all clean, but you have to clean your brush again. So I'm just gonna go in between like this, and just keep moving your brush like that, and it's all gonna blend really nicely and quickly. You might have to do this part a little bit quicker before your paint dry. And even if it's dry, it's okay. Just go back with the similar lighter blue in the middle and just make it a little bit lighter. Now let me show you if that happens again where this color is dry. All you have to do is just take a little bit of white and just tiny little blue. Take more white and less blue, and just apply it wherever you have white space left first. Okay, make sure you don't have any more paint left, then make sure there's nothing, and go back again and kind of blend that all together. Alright, I'm just gonna make my blue a little bit more darker. So I'm just gonna grab a little bit more blue, a little bit more white. This time I'm gonna take very less white and just a little bit yellow. Okay, I'm just gonna make it nice and dark, but not too dark. Okay, perfect. All right, I'm gonna do the same thing again, but let me work on the top area first and then I'll work on the bottom. So I'm mostly covering all the white space I have left. Okay, I'm also adding some on the edges too, because I always like to make the edges and the corner of all the paintings. Usually I make a little bit darker than the whole painting area. Okay, now after I apply this color again, I have to work a little bit quicker, so I'm not working on the bottom right now. Make sure you don't have too much paint left, and again go back between all those colors that you just applied. Make sure you keep that circular motion there to just blend everything together like that. Now again, if you feel like it's all dry, just take a little bit of white, not too much. Okay, and then just mix that with your paint a little bit and just apply it. That is gonna make a lot more easier to kind of blend all of these colors easier. Okay, just gonna apply a little bit more white right here. Okay, now I don't like this whole circle area, so I'm gonna break that a little bit by adding that darker blue again. So maybe I'm just gonna apply that blue like this. Okay, and after I apply that color, I'm just gonna take a little bit of white, kind of cover my whole brush with the tiny little bit of white here, like this. And I'm gonna go back to just blend that a little bit more. Okay, I'm gonna also take a little bit of yellow because that's the color I used here before, so I'm gonna use similar shade. Okay, perfect. All right, now I'm gonna just add this similar color again on the bottom area here now. So again, all I did is take a little bit of white, blue, and a little bit of yellow. Now again, very less white, not too much. Okay, so the same thing I'm gonna do, just gonna apply this color first. I think that's too light, so I'm just gonna make it a little bit more darker. And do you see how quickly I'm applying? Because I don't want this to dry so quickly, because my paint is drying so quickly today. I don't know why. Okay, so again, after I apply my paint, make sure you don't have too much paint left on your brush, and go over those between the colors here, and just go in a circular motion again. Okay, wherever you feel like you apply too dark, too blue, just take more white. Just take a little bit more white. Make sure you don't take the whole white and just put it on your canvas. Just take a little bit of white, put it on the side of your canvas, and try to cover your all of the bristles here. Now make sure it's not too white. Okay, and I'm just gonna go again wherever I feel like I want to make it lighter. Okay. Just like to go back with some more white. Okay, I'm not too worried about making this area too white because I'm gonna add some white later to make it look like a kind of water. Okay, all right, so now that's all I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna use slightly little darker blue here now. Okay, so to use that, to make that color, I'm just gonna take my blue and just a little bit of green, not too much. Okay, so again, just a little bit of green and just a little bit of blue. All right, now I'm gonna do the same thing again. I'm just gonna pick just some of the spots here now, wherever I feel like I want to make it darker. You can also just keep that circular motion, brush strokes here like this. I'm just gonna make a little bit more paint. Okay, same thing on the bottom here. Quickly, I'm gonna apply this. Okay, now make sure you don't have too much paint left again, and go over very lightly to kind of blend everything again. Now this is the horizon line here, so everything on the top is all sky. Okay, now I feel like I have so much paint on my brush, so I'm just gonna clean that. Just gonna apply a little bit more here. So just kind of step back a little bit. Wherever if you feel like you want to make it more darker, you can do this. I also want to apply this paint a little bit inside here because this looks more like a circle here, and I want to break that a little bit. Okay, I also bring this paint a little bit in. And I'm using very light pressure here. So first I take a little bit of paint and lightly apply that first, just using tip of my bristles here, and then I clean on side of my paper plate, or just use a paper towel here and go over that area and make it a little bit lighter. I'm just gonna do the same thing, maybe one more time here. Now you see me that I don't really clean my brush that often, because I'm very used to know like how much paint I have left on my brush and where I can apply that. So if you feel like that I'm just not cleaning my brush here, and if you feel like you have so much other paint here that it's keep going on your canvas here, clean your brush. You can just clean your brush so that you don't end up with a lot of different colors on your painting here. Alright, I'm just gonna apply a little bit of blue again. I'm gonna do the same thing, just using blue this time. I'm also using a little bit of yellow again, so I'm just kind of again playing around with the colors wherever I feel like. I'm just adding a little bit of yellow and a little bit of white again. Okay, that's perfect. I don't want to go over too many times here now. Alright, I'm gonna do the same thing again on the bottom. And one more time, the reflection doesn't have to be too perfect. As long as you see a similar color right here that you use on your sky, that's all you need to do here. That's all you need to make sure. Okay, I'm also gonna use just a little bit of white and the yellow here. Okay, perfect. That's all I'm gonna do. Alright, now all the white space I have left here, I'm just gonna fill it with a little darker color here now. So I'm gonna make that darker color quickly here. So I'm gonna use my blue. Alright, and this time I'm gonna use black. Alright, so you just need a tiny little black here. Okay, I just added a little bit more black. It might look like black for now, but it's more like dark blue. Alright, now I'm just gonna again fill everything inside, but I'm gonna try to keep that texture here. So I'm just going still in a circular motion. I'm just gonna go around my tent because I'm gonna color my tent completely yellow. So if you use a darker color, you might have to go back on your tent to add a little bit of white and then let it dry, and then you can apply more yellow. That way your tent is gonna pop out a little bit more. So I'm not going over my tent for now. Okay, so as you can see, I applied the dark blue. Okay, I'm not touching that dark kind of just a little lighter kind of green color that I have here. Okay, so same thing. I'm also gonna do down here. Let me make a little bit more paint. Alright, now it's time to blend everything. Okay, so remember again, make sure you clean your brush. Okay, and then just go in between all those colors. If it feels like it's hard for you to apply, to blend these colors, just take a little bit of white. I'll show you because I'm gonna have to use some white here. So let me work on this first. Okay, perfect. Now do you see I still have a little bit of white dots left here? I did not color anything there. So I'm gonna take a little bit of white. Again, just clean that on side of your plate. Make sure you color like all of your bristles. And I'm gonna go over that area again like this. What this is gonna do is also gonna make it a little bit lighter. Okay, and then I'm just gonna keep going on that circular motion here. Okay, I'm gonna use a little bit more white. Okay, I'm gonna do the same thing on the bottom. So I'm just gonna take a little bit more white again. Just make sure I cover all of my bristles. Just adding this type of dots, it just makes it easier for me. Okay, and then I'm just gonna again go in circular motion. Okay, so I'm just gonna clean my brush here now. Alright, so now I'm gonna add some splatters with the white. So let me clean my brush here again. Alright, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna take my black paint, white paint, and just a lot of water here. Basically just gonna make my white paint thin. Alright, and you can just use the brush here, and you can just start adding your splatters like this. Now this part is a little bit messier, so if you are working on a cleaner area, make sure you cover your workspace. My space is already messy, so I'm not gonna really worry about that. So basically all you have to do is just grab your other brush or maybe something and just tap like this. I'm not too worried about on the bottom because I'm gonna color that anyways with the different color here. Okay, so that's all I'm gonna do. Just gonna add a little bit bigger splatters on just some areas. So I'm just taking more paint and a little bit more water here. So I'm just gonna give a nice big tap. Okay, I think I did a lot, but that's good enough, I think. Alright, so now I'm gonna start working on adding some more details here. So I'm gonna use my smaller brush this time, and I'm gonna add a nice big moon. Okay, so basically I'm just gonna use this flat brush I have. Now if you like to let your painting dry maybe a little bit, you can also let it dry. I'm just gonna go right on top of this. Alright, so now think about where you want to add your moon. I'm just gonna add mine maybe right here. So I'm just gonna add nice smaller circle. Start with a small circle. You can always make your moon a little bit bigger later if you like, but it's gonna be hard to make it smaller once you make it bigger, right? So start with the smaller circle first. Now again, whatever I do on the top, I'm gonna do the same thing on the bottom. So my moon is here. I'm just gonna add my moon right here. Now this moon, you don't have to make it perfect circle. It's okay if it's something like this. Okay, and it's a little bit bigger than this. Okay, so let me clean my brush again. Alright, so now I'm just gonna use my finger here and smooth out the edges of this moon. Okay, so I'm just gonna go around this circle. Okay, perfect, there you go. Alright, I'm gonna do the same thing here, but this time I'm just gonna go left and right. So something like this, just going mostly again on the edges. Okay, there you go. I'm gonna let that dry. I'm gonna go back, add maybe a couple more layers so that this area is a little bit more brighter. Alright, so now I'm gonna start adding some trees. So for the trees, I'm gonna use my same small flat brush I have. Now the first thing I'm gonna do is add a horizon line here first using a black color. So let me grab this black, and I'm just using tip of my brush for the whole time when I add this line. Alright, so let's say maybe this is where I want to add my line. Okay, and I'm just gonna again use tip of my brush for this. Okay, there you go. Alright, I'm just gonna grab a little bit more black paint and just gonna make that line a little bit more thicker. Now I'm gonna add a lot of trees. Okay, so I'm not too worried about how this line looks like here. If it's not straight or if it's not too dark, don't worry about it, because I'm gonna add like a couple more layers here with a similar color. Alright, so now I'm also gonna add little land area also on the water, but I'm gonna do that later. So let me start working on the trees here first. Okay, so I'm gonna work on the trees that are all the way in the back first. So let me grab my paint again. So if you'd like to see me first for this part, you can, and then you can start doing this. You're gonna get more idea here. So I'm gonna start adding some taller trees. So I'm just adding tree trunks first, and I like to use a little bit of water. That is gonna help you to add a nice sharp line, and you don't have to go over your tree trunk and your tree branches too many times. Okay, you can start from bottom. You can just add your tree trunks like this. I'm not gonna go over my moon here, so I'm gonna try to keep my tree a little bit smaller on this area. It's more taller everywhere else here. Okay, now I'm gonna really make this area nice and darker. So that's why I said, if you want to watch me first, you're gonna get more idea. So basically you can see I'm coloring my whole background that I just worked on. So always start from the bottom and bring your paint up. It will be more easier to do it that way instead of starting from top to down. Okay, after I apply this paint, I'm just gonna use my brush flat, and I'm just gonna kind of smooth out all the lines on the bottom. Not going all the way to the top, all the way to the tip of my tree trunk here, just working on the bottom area here. Okay, perfect. Alright, so I'm also gonna start adding some branches here now, and I'm using my same small brush here, flat brush, and same color again. So let me start adding branches from this. Now you can add this type of tree so many ways. I'm just gonna keep it very simple. I'm just gonna start from top and bring my paint down like this to create the look of these trees. Okay, and then I'm just adding this type of branches again. Now I'm not gonna do this with all of my trees, just the one that are taller. Okay, and I'm just gonna try to come all the way down. Okay, so same thing again I'm gonna do with all the trees I have, all the taller trees. I'm not too worried about on the bottom. Again, I'm gonna add a lot of green trees also there. Okay, I'm almost done. I'm just gonna do maybe just some of this here, not again all of this. So there you go, I'm done here with these trees in the back. Now I'm just gonna clean my brush. I'm gonna do the same thing with the green trees. Now I'm not gonna go too crazy like I did with the black here. I'm just gonna pick some area here. So let me show you a couple of the trees here first. So I'm gonna take my green, and I have a little taller tree, maybe let's say here. So I'm just gonna add a tree trunk first. I have a lot of water on my brush, so make sure you don't have too much water. Okay, I just use my finger to clean that. Okay, all right, so again I'm just gonna add a tree trunk here first. Okay, and I'm just gonna add some branches, same thing. Now since it's a night time, you cannot see completely here with this dark green, so you don't have to worry too much if you about this tree. You can just add this type of tree first, add your branches, and after this color dry, trust me, you're not gonna see completely green here because we use darker black in the background. So this green is gonna look like slightly lighter, I mean darker green, but it's not gonna be bright green. Okay, and if your green is bright green, you can just go over and add more trees here with some darker green instead of using this bright green. Okay, I'll show you that too if you want to also check that out, how to do that. Okay, so basically here is what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna add a couple more here. Do you see how I'm adding this tree? I'm not really adding a tree trunk to start even the tree here with this green, because again it's a night time, you cannot see your tree completely, so I'm not worried about the shape here. I just add maybe just basic shape, you can say. And I'm just gonna clean my brush. I'm just gonna take a little bit black again and just a little bit of dark, a little bit of green here. So I'm taking my green and just a little bit of black. I'm just gonna make my green slightly little darker. And the trees that you just add, you can go back and just add a little touch of this color, only if you feel like your green is dark. Mine is not, so I'm not too worried about that. I'm just gonna go on just some area to make a darker trees. I'm just gonna add some darker trees in between these light green trees. Okay. Okay. And I'm just gonna go under this tree here again with that dark green and add this type of line under the tree, so if you can see the bottom of your tree clearly, you can hide with this color under your tree. Okay, all right, so that's all I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna clean my brush here, and I'm gonna go back on that moon again. I'm gonna do that one more time. I might have to do it one more time after that, but let me do this first. So same thing again, just add a nice circle first. Same thing on the bottom, doesn't have to be perfect circle again. Okay, and you can use your finger to just go around and just smooth out your sharp lines. Now I really like this area here. I really want to make it darker, brighter moon, but I'm still gonna go over the edges again. Okay, this is the last time. I'm just gonna go one more time to just add a sharp white. All right, perfect. So I'm gonna start working on the bottom area here now, and before I do that, I'm gonna start adding kind of where you can say it's a water. So let's make it look like a water first. Okay, so I'm just gonna use my white for this part. Okay, and basically all I'm gonna do is add this type of line, and I'm gonna use tip of my brush here. Okay, so let me start from here. So I'm just gonna add this type of line here first, all the way in the back here first. Okay, as I'm coming down, I'm just gonna make my line a little bit more longer. So again, I'm just using tip of my brush. Now my paint that I'm using, it's a little bit more on the thinner side, so that's why I have to apply a lot of layer of white wherever I apply white. So if you are using a little bit thicker pigment paint here, you don't have to do this part too many times. Okay, now I'm just gonna go back because my paint again is very thin, so I have to go on just some of the area again and add more lines, just tiny little lines. Okay, I'm just gonna, as I'm coming down, I'm just gonna make my line a bit more longer again, like this. Okay, I'm not too worried about now again here to add smaller lines. I'm just gonna add this type of line. You can also use your small brush if you want to. I'm just gonna use this brush. Okay, I'm just gonna add more lines here, just maybe a little bit more. Okay, there you go. That's all I'm gonna do. Alright, so I'm gonna clean my brush again, and I'm gonna work on some now my tent is, of course, it's not floating on the water here, so I'm gonna add the ground on that area. So let me clean my brush again, and I'm just gonna use my black paint, and I'm just gonna add the ground like this. So all the way in the back again, it's all water, and under the tent here, I'm just gonna apply this black. Okay, so again, this is all the ground area. Okay, there you go. All right, now I'm gonna give maybe a little bit more shape here, because this is all the ground. Same thing on the other side. Maybe I wanna gonna bring this maybe a little bit more in. Okay, I need more black. Okay, perfect. All right, now I also have maybe a little ground area also on the bottom here, so I'm just gonna also add maybe a little hill down here. Okay, there you go. Perfect. All right, now I also want to add some grass on this painting. So now I'm not really adding black grass here. I'm just gonna use my black paint to add grass down here, because I don't want any straight line on the bottom. So that's why I'm adding this type of grass. Okay, so now before I add grass on this black color, I'm gonna have to let that dry maybe a little bit. So I'm just gonna let that dry, and then I'm gonna work on just adding a little bit more white on the water here again. So let me grab my smaller brush this time. Okay, so again, this is number 0 size, and I'm just using that to just add more lines here, because I really want to bring that and I really want to make that a little bit more brighter. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna add a line touching that black line I have here. So just gonna add a line like this. Same thing right here. Alright, and I'm just gonna add more lines. Okay, so something like this. Just trying to blend this a little bit so that this line don't look like a straight line here. So that's why I'm adding some more lines under that line, but I'm just adding more choppier line, you can see. Okay, perfect. And just maybe some lines right here. Now because it's a night time, I'm also gonna add a little bit of dark blue here. So I'm just gonna make my dark blue using my blue and just a little bit of black here, almost the same color that I have in the background. Okay, and I'm adding a line with that color too. Not going everywhere, just like on some area. So this way your white is gonna pop out a little bit more. Okay, perfect. I'm also gonna use this on this area here also. So same thing, I'm just gonna add this type of lines. Again, it's hard to see the colors I'm adding here sometimes. Okay, so there you go. I'm just using very light pressure to add these lines. Okay, all right, so that's all I'm gonna do here. And I'm gonna grab that flat small brush again, and I'm gonna work on my tent now. So basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna color my whole tent with the yellow color. So let me grab some yellow, and I'm just gonna color my whole tent like this. All right, and I'm also gonna use just maybe a little bit of brown here. So I'm gonna use my smaller brush for that. Okay, so I'm just gonna use my small brush and brown color, and I'm mostly gonna apply this on the edges. So I'm gonna apply, let's see, maybe right here. There was a line here too. Okay, there you go. I just add an outline. Now I'm gonna go back to blend it all together a little bit. So now just going very lightly like this. I'm just dabbing on the edges area here to blend that together a little bit, maybe here. Okay, I'm just adding more brown. Right here. Okay, now I'm gonna also apply a little bit of black later, but for now I'm just applying this brown. Okay, perfect. That's all I'm gonna do. I'm gonna let that dry a little bit. All right, now I'm gonna start working on grass here. So for that, you can use a small brush here if you like. I'm just gonna use my middle brush, the flat brush I have. And for this, I'm gonna use my green color. So basically, I'm just gonna take my green and I'm gonna start adding this type of lines for grass. So I'm gonna start from bottom here, and then I'm gonna bring my paint up. I'm not starting from top, I'm just starting from bottom to bring my paint up. Now this color is gonna be, again, it looks darker, but once it's dry, it's not gonna be that dark. Do you see my tree in the back here? It was darker before, I mean too bright before. Now it's not that bright. So this grass that I'm adding, it's not gonna be as bright as it looks right now, but I really want to make this grass pop out maybe a little bit more here, so I'm gonna use one more color here once I'm done with this. So I'm just using my flat brush and adding this type of lines here. I'm not coming all the way down and touching my ground, touching this line all the way that I have on the bottom here. Now on some of the area it's still wet, so I'm gonna skip just some of this area here. Okay, I'm not touching my tent right now. I'm gonna come back here, add more green later if I need to. Okay, I'm gonna do the same thing for this area here. Okay, just have a little longer grass on the bottom here. Okay, perfect. All right, I'm just gonna clean my brush here, and I'm also gonna do the same thing with the yellow this time. Okay, so again I'm gonna do the same thing with the yellow, and this time I'm not gonna go really everywhere, mostly going around the tent area here, so because that's where the light is coming from. So I'm just adding kind of little touch of yellow like this. I also have some yellow right here. Same thing on the bottom here again. So again, I'm not gonna add a lot of yellow down here, just maybe some lines. Okay, there you go. Alright, so I'm also gonna use slightly little darker green here now. I mean slightly a little bit lighter green here now. So I'm just gonna mix my yellow and the green. Okay, now I'm gonna apply this on the other area. So basically I did not apply this yellow here, so I'm gonna use this color right here. So you can see the dark green and the light green both, but the less light is coming on that area. Same thing down here. I'm just gonna apply some lines. Okay, that's it. That's all I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna clean my brush again. Alright, now I'm gonna use my small brush. I'm gonna repeat the same thing, but this time you can see this grass clearly, and it's gonna be really fine grass. Alright, basically, so what I'm gonna do is just gonna use my green first, and I'm gonna add this type of lines. So I'm starting from bottom, bringing my paint up, and add this type of grass. I don't want to go too crazy because I'm gonna also use other colors here too. Okay, same thing I'm gonna do with this ones here. So it's gonna be slightly a little bit smaller than this, but this is what I'm doing here now. I'm just starting from bottom and bringing my paint up. Make sure you don't have too much paint on your brush. So there you go. This is what I'm doing here. Now you cannot see this clearly right here, but trust me, I'm adding some like taller grasses here too. Alright, I'm also gonna add some yellow. Same thing again. there you go. That's all I'm gonna do. One last thing I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna add some more tree trunk. So I'm just gonna use my brown again, and I'm using my small flat brush, and I'm adding some tree like this. So starting from the top, and there are maybe a couple trees like this. Okay, there's one, and there's one more on the other side. Okay, I'm gonna go all the way to the top. Okay, I'm just gonna add maybe a couple more. Just adding one more. Okay, so there you go. That's all I'm gonna do. Alright, I'm just gonna add just maybe some more leaves for these big trees. For that, I'm just gonna use my green. I'm gonna start with the darker green first. So I'm mixing my blue and the green. Okay, now I don't have like branches on this tree. Whatever you have, it's all the way on the top here somewhere. You cannot really see your branches. Okay, I'm just adding the depths like this. Okay, I'm just gonna use the green again, same thing. And I'm also gonna use a little bit of yellow. Alright, so same thing I'm gonna do. Let me clean my brush here first. I'm just gonna go on some of the area again to just, add more grass around the trunk. Okay, there you go. I'm just gonna clean my brush. I'm just gonna go back on my tent again and just add a little bit more highlight there. So I'm just gonna use my white paint, and I'm just gonna highlight just some of the area. I'm just gonna use my finger to just make some of the area a little bit more brighter. Okay, I'm just gonna go back with some more yellow just on some of this area again. Okay, so there you go. That's all I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna clean my brush, and I'm just gonna give a one last touch with the black color now on my tent. So you can also use a Sharpie if you like for this part. I'm just gonna use my small brush and a black paint, and let me do the outline here quickly. Okay, there you go. I'm just gonna add some more, I don't know what it's called, but you know how you have to hook your okay, I never did camping before, but I'm just gonna add like one more line and just gonna connect that to the grass here because that's where it's connected to. There is one more in the back here. Okay, there you go. There is one more on the other side, but you cannot see that clearly, so I'm just gonna add like one line there. Okay, perfect. Just gonna give a little messier look, so I'm just gonna go around the edges again, just add one more line, kind of a little bit of line around that all the lines, the edges that I just add, the outline I mean. Okay, so there you go. Okay, cute. All right, so I'm just gonna also add some branches. Okay, so I'm just gonna add my branches with the brown again. So I'm just using a little bit of water with this brown and adding this type of branches. I'm not too worried about how it looks because I'm just gonna add maybe some greenery around that branches. Okay, there you go. Alright, I'm just gonna use my flat brush again, and I'm just gonna use my green, dark green, to just kind of add green. Okay, I'm also gonna use a little bit of yellow. Okay, there you go. Alright, I'm just gonna go back one more time on my moon and just add a little bit more white. Okay, perfect. That's all I'm gonna do. I love that. Alright, I'm also gonna add maybe just some flowers here, so let me clean my brush. Okay, and I'm gonna use my red color here for these flowers. I'm just using red, and I'm just adding this type of dots line, you can say here. So just like this. I don't want to get too crazy here, but just a little touch of this pink, or the red, I'm sorry. Again, this is magenta shade. Okay, now as you can see, it's not a perfect shape here. I'm using my flat small brush here. I'm adding some flower on some of the grass that I add, and I'm just adding some that are just random. It don't even have a stem. Okay, I'm also gonna add some flower on this area too. Now this time I'm just gonna add like some dots, so something like this, just using tip of my brush for this. Again, I'm not gonna go everywhere, just like gonna pick one spot, and there are some flowers there. Same thing on the other side here. Okay, that's it. That's all I'm gonna do here. Just one more thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add some fireflies. So to do that, I'm gonna use my yellow color, and all I'm gonna do is just add a little dot here, and I'm just gonna use my finger to just make it a little bit lighter. You might have to go back a couple times here if you are using again thinner paint. And once you smudge that a little bit, after you smudge that a little bit, go back and just add one more dot in middle. So again, let me show you one more time. I'm just gonna add a little bigger here. So I'm gonna add a little dot. I'm gonna use my finger to make it a little bit lighter. And I'm gonna go back and just add a little touch of yellow more, and you can also use a little bit of white too. Okay, so let me just add some more here. Okay, there you go. One more thing. Okay, so there you go. Here I'm all done with this. Okay, so yeah, here I'm all done with this painting. I hope you guys all have fun painting with me. And if you also paint with me, you can also share your painting. I love to see your painting. Make sure you give a big thumbs up. And if you are new to my channel, make sure you subscribe to my channel. So yeah, here I'm all done with this painting. And I will see you next time whenever we paint again together. And don't forget to clean your brushes in some dish soap water so that you can use these brushes again. So yeah, again, I'm all done. Thank you again for watching my video. I will see you next time whenever we paint again together. Bye.